In our final lecture about Unit 4, I want to discuss with you why reading is so important in English and then also in writing persuasively. When we read, we inform ourselves about different topics, but sometimes reading can be challenging. So I want to talk about some strategies that you can use when reading challenging texts. First, I recommend taking notes. These notes can be invaluable to you in terms of understanding what you're reading. They can also be very helpful when you're going back to write a paper based on a text that you've read. You might want to try making a vocabulary list. Sometimes what makes a reading challenging is that the author uses words that you may not be familiar with. If you make a vocabulary list and look those words up later, it might offer a new meaning or interpretation of the text that you read, and it will also, of course, help increase your vocabulary. Read and repeat is always a good strategy. If you have the time, try to read the text more than once. The more times that you read the text, the more it may become clear, and the more new ideas may pop out to you as you become more and more comfortable with the vernacular and vocabulary of the author. Finally, if it's a piece of text that you own that you're not planning on selling back to a bookstore, or that you're able to print offline if it's an online resource, you might want to annotate that text. By annotate, I mean underline important phrases, highlight things that you want to return back to, jot down questions of things that you don't understand or things that you might need to look up, and you can also map to create either a plot that you can follow later when you're talking about the text that you're reading, or you might be mapping the way that the author makes their argument. It's really important that you take additional time when you're really reading a challenging text, especially if your plan is to write an essay based on that text. Finally, I wanted to make a brief comment about literature review. The idea of a literature review is to look at what has come before that has informed the text that you're reading. This is a really important strategy, and that is why we do so much research before we write a paper on any topic. So we always want to think about what has come before, and we don't want to repeat what has come before. We want to refer to it or reference it, but then move beyond it to add something new, whether that's your own unique perspective, or you're combining two pieces of research on a particular topic, or you're just making an argument advocating for something that's been said before, but from a new point of view. If you have any questions about any of this, please let me know.